Okay, as you can see, these are my notes. I'm not real good with AI. This is like handwritten stuff, just garbage I got been folded up in my pocket for a week. So I don't have nothing prepared. You people that are walking around, you want to hear a bunch of lies, sit down. We're going to talk about it. How's everybody enjoying the show? Pretty good one this year, huh? Truck show outside looked good. These guys got some really nice trucks. It's pretty awesome to see what every year what people are going to bring and show off here at the show. Surprisingly, I've seen a good amount of young guys getting into it, which is really good for this industry. I talked to a few of these young guys about what's going on with the trucking industry. And, these guys they're owner-operators, and it's really hard for them to be able to stay in business with these fuel prices, of course, right now, insurance, and competition with the Dolphin trucks all over the highway. That's what I call them. And you probably know what I'm talking about. I guess if I want to stick to my notes here, and a couple of things that I need to talk about is what we're here for today. Is one of the topics is built, not bought, why the world still needs makers, and a lot of that is just plain facts. If we don't have guys that can create, build, and fabricate and keep things on the road and keep our world running, not just in the trucking industry, but pretty much in anything that happens mechanically in our world today. I think that a lot of us start off, well, a lot of you guys are probably my age and older. What did we start with? Nothing. We started with nothing. We went out in the garage, we went out in the shop, our uncle, our dad, our grandpa, somebody had a shop full of garbage laying around because they saved everything back then. You'd go out and they'd have everything out back, and you could build something out of nothing. And it was all mechanical. So mechanically we could make it run and move and drive down the road. And it really is what created our generation to be where we're at today, especially if you're a business owner. You get to that point in your life where you've already kind of done everything and it's time to let somebody else take over and do it. But unfortunately, we are lacking that in today's world. I don't know if I'm 54 years old, so my kids are in their 20s, late 20s now. Luckily, I kicked their ass enough to where they can do shit on their own, and I don't have to constantly, what are you doing? Get off your butt. But did we spoil our kids to where they don't want to do what we did? But then again, they never had the chance, really, with the technology and all the things that video games, number one, we didn't have that shit. We had I had Pac-Man, and we had to walk 2 miles to go play it at some 7-Eleven or, some corner store. We didn't have video games. So, we rode our mini bikes and built go-karts and did all that stuff. And that was what made our minds want to work to be able to create things. And we never thought about ordering something online. Never. We never had to think about that. Now that's all we do. Sit behind a computer. We have to replace a junk part on these junky trucks, and that's just the way it is. It's not taking the water pump and rebuilding it no more. It's throw it out, put a new one on it. Back in the old days, everything was rebuildable. You could rebuild it, you could work on it, and make it go again. And we don't do that no more. And I think that that's something that is never going to come back. But as long as we can teach the next generation down to be able to build stuff with their own hands and make something happen, That's what's going to push through. And we need to beat our kids, to be totally honest with you. But we don't. We don't kick our kids' asses like they need it. And if their phone battery dies, they're having a bad day. If they, it's pretty sad. So in return, what happens is we bring in people from other countries to do our work because we're too lazy to do it now. And everybody bitches about that. So it's like, well, who's going to do the work? If we can't do it no more, who's going to do it? I mean, unfortunately, us guys that are in our 50s are still working harder than the kids in their 20s right now. Most of them. Not this group. Okay, let me get that straight real quick. This kid walking by right here, I'm sure his dad kicks his ass and makes him do shit. So, and I'm sure every one of them in here are pretty damn close to the same way. It's not this industry. It's not these people. But this trucking world and all the people that are in this warehouse today, we're this big to the world. But we're doing this much of the work. Right? You're teaching your kids how to continue what you did to try to get the next generation going, even though they're weaker. My kids can both kick my ass, I'm not going to lie, but they're still weaker than me as a man. They still can't be like me as a man, but physically, they could kick my ass, both of them. But they don't have the mental beatdown that I've been through to continue to every day, nonstop, 7 days a week, keep going. And that's a problem. It's real simple. I rodeoed for 20 years. I had horses. I team roped. I raised a bunch of colts, and I raised them into team roping horses. And this is how I basically broke my kids like a horse. It's real simple. They're always going to throw a fit when they're young, and they're always going to be kicking and bucking. You put a saddle on them, they're not going to like it. They're going to buck. You tie them up to a fence post, they're going to rear back and try to break the lead rope. That's the process that you have to put your kids through to get them to the next generation. Because if you don't saddle them up when they're little and make them do things, they won't ever do it. But there's a process over time of doing it every day that these horses start to drop their head and they start to walk to you and they start to give in, because that's the process of breaking them. We don't do that no more. Here's a video game. Shut the hell up. Eat these Cheetos, and I'm gonna ruin your life, basically, as a parent. That's what's happening. And that, in return, keeps them from going out in the garage and finding some old motorcycle that you had or your grandpa had or your dad, or I don't care what it is, tractor, whatever it is. It lacks them from wanting to have the drive to go outside. It's too cold today. I didn't give a shit if it was 120 or 10 below zero. I wanted to go outside and play and work on things and have fun. And we're not pushing that anymore. And it's just times are changing. My grandpa, World War II vet, badass dude. I'm a quarter of what he was. So can you imagine what our grandkids are going to be like? I mean, it's just going to keep. So we have to. Like I said, the problem isn't here. It's the rest of the world. The kids that are growing up in here right now, that are walking around, being pushed around in their strollers and stuff, their dad, there's a good chance that they work on diesels, they got a truck, they're in the industry, and they're going to try to continue and teach it and keep going. But it's getting further and further down. And we need to get these kids in these trades, teach them how to weld, teach them how to work on these trucks. I mean, I'm telling you right now, if you have the skills at 20 years old to start working on these trucks, you're going to make more money than half the world right now. These guys don't know that. You know, I wish we had an audience full of 20-year-olds right now that I could be preaching this to. I got a couple of younger guys in here, but, you know, it really comes down to the fact that we're losing that. And if you're an owner of a company, I say quit being nice to them. They come in, they're sick, they're on their phone. Kick their ass. Try to get them to quit and focus on, you know, what's important. And these guys will make more money than you can. I told my kids, I go, you guys, because they can diesel mechanic, they can weld, they can do anything they want. And they're at a stage in their life where they just can name their price. You know, I'll come do it, but this is what it's going to cost, you know, because most people aren't going to come do it. So being able to have that ability at a 20-year-old, when you're 20 years old, is super important for the future. And that's what we need. And it's these people here is what's going to pull our country through. You know, it really is. I mean, I really don't need to preach this to you guys, really. I wish I was in San Francisco at a coffee shop right now with all the floofy-ass bullshit people that don't think about how their grain is hauled and their food. And, you know, we're over here fighting $5.50 a gallon fuel for you guys to truck shit across the United States. And they're over there worried about their Pokemon shit. Is that even a thing anymore? I don't even know if that's even a thing. But anyway, TikTok, YouTube, I want to be a YouTube star. That's what I do. I'm a YouTube star now, you know, like they don't even have no skills. You haven't worked long enough to have enough skills to be a YouTube star unless you just want to do dumb shit all day. Well, that's not really getting our stuff done in this world. You know what I mean? So the problem with all of these, and I've watched it, you know, I was on TV at a time when Instagram, well, TikTok wasn't even around. Instagram was a thing, and YouTube. But once it changed where TV is no longer much, because no one sits at home and watches. Think about, most guys in here knew who Dukes of Hazzard, right? Raise your hand. Dukes of Hazzard? Okay. When Dukes of Hazzard came on, you're probably my age. How old are you? Yeah. You ran home at 6 o'clock to watch Dukes of Hazzard, right? And then pretty soon, time goes by and you can watch it at a different time because you have your TV now records it. Now you don't have to be there to watch it. You can watch it later. And then pretty soon, you can watch anything you want. Anything that you can think of or dream of, whether it's good or bad, you can sit home and you can watch it. Well, what it's done is it's got rid of TV. I was the last of television. I was the last of people sitting down watching Discovery Channel. You know, now they still watch it a little bit, but it's not like car shows. It's not anything like that, really. It's a lot different because we have so much social media now, TikTok, YouTube, platforms, all this stuff. It's spread out. No one really watches much of anything. I mean, I was getting 3-4 million views a night. Okay? As it started to dwindle down, it's like 1 million, 1.5 million, views. Back 15 years ago, they'd get, Dukes of Hazzard. Oh, shit. 50 million people. And you could see from there so what we're doing is we're coming into a world where every kid thinks he's a TV star, YouTuber, and there's really no work getting done. They're not really. Some are applying, like the guys in this industry. They'll go work on their trucks and put it on YouTube, and that's pretty cool. But these other guys that are they're literally like carrying around fart machines. It's funny. Don't get me wrong. They go in the store and they make it look like somebody else farted. Did he? Okay. And we sit there and laugh about it because we're so used to dumb shit now that we can't even. Do you find yourself sitting there scrolling through your phone, looking at some of the dumbest shit that doesn't even matter. That's where we're going, guys. And we're all guilty of it. We watch it. We sit there, and then pretty soon you're on the next thing, and you're da-da-da-da-da-da. And these smartphones know how dumb you are. So they keep you sucked in the whole time while you're watching it. And pretty soon an hour goes by. And we're like older, and I get stuck in it sometimes. Can you imagine these younger kids that don't know any different? They were born with a phone in their hand, and that's how they think life is. I think that a lot of our issues in this country right now are like I said, the social media and everybody trying to be a YouTube star. When you could really go out and make some real money and work on these trucks, be a welder, be a whatever, plumber, electrician. We need them all. We're out of them. We're done. So I know that I got kind of carried away with talking shit on our next generation, but we love them. The ones that are here, I've seen a lot of them. These kids here are they're going the right way. So I love coming to, like conventions like this, that there are people like me that understand, they get it, they see the problem. Everybody sees the problem, but there's really nobody doing nothing about it. And that's what's scary for our future is the technology. Man, this AI right now is just crazy, isn't it? Anybody freaked out in here about it? I mean, doesn't it it just gives me like the creeps, I mean, they did an AI picture of me for our booth over here. I look buff. Well, you can obviously see I'm just not that buff, but I look like a badass. I can tell you that. I'm just going to kind of whip through some of these pages real quick on a few things. Yeah, we talked about the AI a little bit. And I kind of want to talk about, I think I've made success in my life building shit out of shit, literally. I can make something that looks like you would never want to touch this thing come to life and look AI when it's done. I don't know if you've been over there to see my Black Peterbilt, but the creative detail that goes in these things, there's a lot of truck guys here that build their trucks that are really awesome. And when you build it, you have to be obsessed with it. You literally shut your life off for months, cut everything out. You're not scrolling on your phone, looking at AI or looking at porn or whatever people look at nowadays. That's another huge problem in our country. It's just completely blowing everybody's mind. I know you guys are over there going, oh, shit. I got Pornhub at home, so. But it's bad. You guys got to pull your head out of that shit and try to get back to the normal stuff, which I don't know what's normal anymore, to be honest with you. It's so weird. But I think that being creative, getting your hands in stuff, getting dirty, and building something completely outside the box is so much fun. There's a lot of guys that I've met through whether it's trucks, cars. I mean, I've been all over the place. I've been to all over the United States and Europe and stuff and talked to people about their rat rods. And, a lot of them are like guys that built, I'm talking like trucks that are perfect. And then they build a rat rod and then it changes them. And they're like, this is so cool because I put my uncle's something or another in here, and this was my dad's cab on his truck, and we pulled this shit out of the back of somebody's backyard, and it creates a story. It creates a story, and that's what's so cool about a lot of these things. We've lost the feeling of being able to do that and create. And I think when I put a diesel engine in that rat rod, literally 18 years ago, it changed something. It changed the way people were protocol. We're all designed to follow the rules every day. And now we're getting into a thing where we go to Costco, we buy the same shit, we drive the same stupid white four-door Kia. Sorry if you drive a Kia. Or, whatever it is, protocol. Look at the cars on the road today. Sucks. They all suck. I don't care. Whatever you drove here in today sucks. Everybody. I hate them. I hate the cars. I hate the way they look. They're what they want you to drive. They're not cool styled like in the 50s, 30s, 40s, 50s when they really gave a crap about the car and who you were as a human driving it. Now you're like, my wife made me buy it. Shut up. You bought it because you got no balls. You know what I mean? Because your wife, she didn't even want it. She doesn't want to drive that thing. You bought it because it was cheap. It was $19,000 brand new or something. I don't know what they are. 20, 30,000. I don't know. What's a Kia cost? Anybody know? 10 grand? I mean, you could buy a Razor. I think a Razor is more expensive than a Kia. But there's no soul. There's no nothing. Like these guys stopped me yesterday that are going to see Trump at the Congress about the trucking industry and what I think about the trucking industry. And since there's probably everybody in here is a truck driver, I'm not a truck driver. I got a truck. I can drive a truck. But I'm not a truck driver, so I can talk as much shit as I want about it. And what I'm telling you is there any kids in here that are 20 to 30 years old? Raise your hand. Anybody? Okay. I'm going to use you guys as an example real quick. I'm not going to talk shit about that truck. You know what the dolphin trucks are, right? I call them dolphin trucks. Aerodynamic. Okay. Me, myself, if I was going to be 25 years old and get into the trucking and want to be thrilled about having my own truck, I want a flat hood, a W900, a 379, 389, something cool, right? If you told me that I had to drive one of those things as being a new trucker, I wouldn't do it. Automatic. That's so lame. Who wants to drive an automatic truck that looks like a pig with no ears? I can't do it. And I can talk. I'm not a truck driver, so I don't care. But if these new young guys that are coming out that want to be a truck driver, they want to have pride. There's no pride in trucking no more. I don't feel like it. I drive down the highway, and if I see one Peterbilt or W900 coming down the road, I'm flashing my headlights. I'm like, that's sick, bro. I like your truck. Like, we know if there's anybody in here that has their own truck that drives their own, owner-operator, when you're going down the road or you pull in the truck stop, that other guy, out of the 50 trucks out there, there's only one other guy like you. I want to stand on my own and have my own cool thing. And I think these young guys that are coming out, they feel the same way. But they're going to be stuck with a Hyundai truck, basically. How do you make that cool? You can't make it cool. They don't even have stacks on them. They cut the balls right off them. I mean, think about all you guys my age. All we thought about was big Peterbilt truck stacks, rolling coal. That's trucking. Shit. We ain't got that left. These poor kids, they want to be men, but they can't. We still cut the balls off them too. Like, we need to be able to let them be cool. We got 5 minutes? 5 already? Shit, we might have to go overtime, brother. We might have to go overtime. 5 minutes in it. No, I'll do it. Anyway, I can't believe I rambled that quick about this already, but in a nutshell, I think that, our future is our younger generation. We need to get them out there. We need to teach them how to work with their hands. We got to let them not be scared to try something. We don't need to be mommy them to death or daddy them to death. Quit being nice to your kids. Be mean to them a little bit. Make them cry. Make them work for it. Because the more we do it for them, the more we're like, oh, I'm going to build your truck for you, son. No, just let them go out there and want it. Because if they don't want it, you can give it to them all you can, but they still ain't going to want it. So we have to figure out how to trick them. You got to trick them. You got to trick them into it so they can love it. And shit, I don't even know what the bottom of my list was real quick. Let me see how I get out of here real quick. We good? Got a couple minutes? Actually, that's where it was. I did pretty good because then the last bit on here is if we don't teach the next generation, it disappears. If we don't teach these kids, the next generation, on how you get your ass out of bed in the morning, get your hands dirty. Yes, you have to work 7 days a week if you want something. Every day. I wear on a set of work boots every 3 months. I'm 54 years old. I go 7 days a week. These are my tennis shoes, my going out at night. These poor girls I go on a date with think I'm a lumberjack. But I don't care because I got cash in my pocket because I work for it. And if you don't do it, you're never going to have it. So getting out of here, I just want to say thank you guys for stopping to listen. Thanks for coming here. I could go another hour, maybe 2 hours on talking some serious shit if we got into it. So maybe next year, if I come, we'll do a 2 hour. Can we do a 2 hour next year? Okay, see, we do next year. We'll do a 2 hour. And I was gonna real quick before I go. I only can take. Is there anybody got any questions before I head out of here? Anybody got any questions on how to kick your kid's ass? Anything? I can cover some stuff. Nothing? What you got? Nobody? Raise your hand. Is this a spray tan? Nothing? You got nothing? Yes. So what she's asking is what my opinion is on if your kids are trying to get into the workforce, what is the best thing to do? I'll tell you what I did with my kids. I sent my kids to work for someone else that is going to kick their ass and make them accountable. Problem is when you try to work with your own kid, you know, okay, you're 5 minutes late, you know, this and that. You kind of let things go because you love your kids. But if you really love your kids, let them go work for some old, mad, mean guy that is going to make them accountable. If they screw up, it's on them. At a young age, 18 years old, 17 years old, make them go work for somebody else that don't love them like you do. And that's my opinion. And when they come back, and you might have to let them go for 4 or 5 years. You might have to let them go. And tough love sometimes is better because when they come back, they become a man, not only because of you making that decision, but because they had to go work with another man that don't give a shit about them. And that's how we got to get them started. I hope that answered your question. That's how I do it. That's how I did it. And I'm not saying my kids are perfect, but I can call them on a second, and they will be there with their service trucks ready to help me. I don't try to wear it out because then they won't show up. I burned them out when they were little, believe me. So now I'm trying to reel them back in. But, yeah, that's it. And then when they go out in the real world and they got to do real work, it's no problem. They're broke. They're like that broke horse. They load in the trailer, they get out, they back in the box, and they run the same run every time. And that's breaking them. You got to break your kids just like you break a horse. And if any of you guys are cowboys and know what I'm talking about, there is a process that you have to go through, and it takes time. It takes years to get one right. But as a parent, kick their ass. That's all I got to say. Anything else? We're done? All right, we got to get out of here. Love you guys. Thank you. Thanks for stopping. We're at the industrial injection booth. If you guys want to come by, check out the Peterbilt, come hang out, we'll do some pictures, and talk some more shit. Thank you.